right? It was just around the point that I needed to go to Texas. I went to a trip in New York, and then Texas. I attended the Creator Camp Film Fest, which I did posters for movies in the event. Let me tell you guys, like, what a wholesome, like, crazy experience to have been able to be a part of the event, come and go into Texas, meeting the creators, met a bunch of wonderful people from all walks of life that were coming together just to meet people, right? It wasn't that much about the movies, at least for the people that I saw were going, they just wanted to meet other creative people. You know, I saw a lot of people that maybe don't have that friends that get you, you know what I mean, that you can sort of bounce ideas off of and get that instant feedback, you know, and get those creative juices flowing. I think it's important to have that to some extent close by, you know what I mean, be it like a partner ideally, but could be your close friends, or at least like a group of friends that you made online. That's what I said at the Discord, but I guess reaching out and going to these kinds of events is really important. Like, I felt like, let me tell you something, guys, the last day of the event, I stayed for one more day. Like, the second day, like, I cried in my room. And here, what was really nice about the Creator Camp event was that everything was far more focused on the craft, you know what I mean, on making movies and telling something, you know. Everybody was just talking about cameras and cool ideas for videos, you know. So yeah, I felt much more at home with that kind of people, you know what I mean. So tremendous experience. I highly encourage you to go follow the Creator Camp accounts, right? The films now are available for you to watch on Patreon. I did the posters for Natural 20, Ashes to Ashes, and Mama Do Film. Mama Do Film was that guy, my guys. Like, Natural 20 was super funny. Like, it was crazy. Like, I told Aiden this in the party after the event, but he's crazy. Like, he will be for me like Scott Pilgrims, you know, but he'll be the next comedy one, you know what I mean. He's such a vibe. And Monique, ultra talented, the way that she of this amazingly intricate that in scenes that pull you in, right? They have a lot of grit, a lot of texture, and a lot of complexity, right? And the fact that she tries to do everything herself, but not because of some ego thing or whatever. She's really drawn to that process by herself, and she delivers in a way that I have never like seen. Like, you would see that and say that was done by a fucking crew, you know what I mean? But none of that. She's crazy. And then Mamadou, this guy is so deep. Even when he talks, like, his voice it takes you to this deep like frame of mind, you know what I mean? And his movie, if you're into graphic design, which I guess so, because you're watching this shit, you know, his film was I think it was the most like graphic of all of them, you know, in the way the scenes are sequenced and the way he pulls in and out with every shot, you know what I mean. And then he does these voiceovers in French and then in English, and it creates some like nice separation between the inner dialogue and the parts of him that maybe, at least I understood it in a sense that when he's speaking in another language, it's like the part of him that's talking about more from his past identity, you know. I don't know, I need to maybe watch that again, because we were talking about with the guys, since that's not exactly it. But yeah, now they are screening on Patreon from the Creator Camp guys, so really highly encourage you to go. This is not sponsored, I'm just pointing you to cool shit, you know what I mean. This is not like some product blog or whatever the fuck. So yeah. How do you get ideas on what kind of text blocks to include in your pieces, and like to add the supporting information to my posters? Like, I read a lot. Like, I read, and I have for example, I just have this notion. like I have a Notion in which or my notepad, or I send audios to myself like on WhatsApp from ideas, or I try to write it down when I grab like a nice phrase on a book, or something that would really spark that the imagination, right, and would look nice in a poster. Because if everything comes as an afterthought, it's not really adding to the poster, you know what I mean? Like the one that I did, like this poster, like there is a worm in man's heart, that is from, I don't have it here, it's from the myth of Sisyphus, and it really stuck with me because it's such a powerful like phrase, you know what I mean? And then random measures for human flight, I just came, I don't know, those words like popped into my mind, and I felt they were good for the image, and it had something to do, I don't know, with the texture and the colors, and it felt like it was evocative in a way that it could be describing of the piece. It's really abstract for this one. I knew I wanted to add there is a worm in man's heart, but yeah, I don't really like to think of the things as I'm doing the poster, but because it needs to sound like powerful, you know, the things that you put in your posters, it shouldn't be like an afterthought. Like that's why I encourage you, like my guys, like read a lot, read books, read articles, read whatever you can get your hands on, because all of that is gonna be fuel for your pieces, right? It's gonna spark imagery, right? Every phrase, it's gonna, since you're creative, you're designers, every phrase you sort of think about is gonna make you think in images, you know what I mean? And then you can marry those images with the words, you know, and create, not in the sense that you are describing with words the images, but you're creating these nice like abstract juxtapositions that added to the feeling, you know what I mean? My website, you have like a giant list of book recommendations. You have some philosophy stuff, self-help stuff. Everybody bashes on self-help, but self-help books like are goated. The people that say that self-help books are trash, it's because they are so up their own asses that they didn't. It's because all I get it, that I do get that it's all pretty me, you know, and some part of the self-help community is like that, but there are some goated self-help books, you know what I mean? Like, don't let anyone like make you feel trash about it. Some are goated, right? But don't make it everything that you read, right? Because then it all becomes about looking everything through the lens of self-optimization that will ultimately get you burnt out, you know what I mean? Like, it's not all about like me, improving, like optimizing, right? There are things that will make you more creative as you break yourself down, you know what I mean? Not in the sense of optimizing, right? But for example, I'm currently reading The Myth of Sisyphus, right? Some parts of that book like will make you have a panic attack, you know, or something by Dostoevsky, something dark, you know. It's not about feeling good all the time. Those kind of texts have a lot of symbolism and a lot of like words that spark images, you know, and that's food for thought, and that's what I like, you know. But a lot of fantasy, it's amazing. I'm chewing on Brandon Sanderson. My guys, take a look at this. I'm reading this. This is 1,000 plus. This is 1,000 plus pages, you know, and I'm munching through this. Like, I'll read this like it's nothing, you know. It's super. If you want to get into heavy, it's not heavy reading. It's like a nice little read, you know. It's easy to read, but it's a lot of words, you know. I have already the second one. The fuck? Shit. Right, but this is the Stormlight Archive. You don't need to start with this. If you're gonna read like Sanderson, you can start by Mistborn. I'm just turning people into Branderson religion, you know what I mean? Like, start with Mistborn, it's crazy. If you want to read something dark, these are all pretty easy books, but this is my most immediate, like, mixed reading list, right? It has some philosophy, some business books, but yeah, no fantasy here. Like, go read Brandon Sanderson and then read this, or read this and then what, you know. So first we have the Win Without Pitching Manifesto. This is a book about creative businesses and how we can shift the balance of power when talking to clients, right? Because because sometimes we are so eager and desperate to get the client that shows in the power dynamic, and more so when we are just starting out. So that book, it's really about becoming a specialist, and not really about becoming the specialist. Like, you have to become the specialist, but it doesn't matter if you're the specialist. What matters is that the client perceives you as the specialist, right? Because he's coming to you because you know what's up. You are the one that understands the creative landscape, right? Not that he's coming to you because you can make an image. You know what I mean? So that book is about learning to negotiate and a bunch of creative business heavy stuff for the creative field, which is really amazing. Then we have the Book of Five Rings by Miyamoto Musashi. This book is more like Eastern philosophy, let's say. Miyamoto Musashi was a samurai that lived around the 1600s. I guess I talked about this book in this channel for like the 6th time. And this is a book that he kind of wrote for his future disciples. And it's a book that you have to revisit from time to time. It talks a lot about awareness and, I don't know, how to use your sight, how to use your... Yeah, it's the Vagabond, but this is the actual book that he wrote. Vagabond, it's based on his life, but yeah. Then this is the goated one. Like, it started with this one. If you're not sure what to read, I don't know how many times I've talked about this book. This book, I read it every year. Like, every year I read this book again. Like, like the creative act is shit. It's what it is, and this is it. Nah, I'm just playing. Like, it's not shit. It has some nice idea, and I get why people love it so much. But if you read these books first, and then you read the creative act, you will see it's taken from all of these books, and it's not really going that deep with the subject. It's just grabbing things from all over the place. You know what I mean? But not going in depth in any one of them. It has like a really nice idea. It's the idea that I really loved about that book. The creative act, I mean, is that this idea that we are antennas, right? We are antennas and we are in touch with the ideas that are in culture, right? So the most creative people are the ones that are more in tune with these ideas, right? That's why similar ideas arise in similar times or around the same period, right? Maybe too soon, some ideas come too soon, or maybe you have an idea and you see other people manifest it faster. It's not because they copy you, it's because it was time for that idea, right? The information that was going around that resulted in that idea, that artist had a bigger sensibility than you, right? So that idea of the creative act, I think it's amazing, but it's the only thing that book has that I haven't seen anywhere else, right? If you want a book that's gonna be a bit more practical and really shake your socks off and make you think and make you, like, how do you become an artist and a designer? Like Art and Fear. Then we have Goated Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. I know, guys, that this is the soy boy stoic red pill. I know, but it's goated. Like just give it a quick read. Yeah, the David Bales one. Yeah, but give a read to Meditations. It's not what it seems like. It's not that self-righteous red pill bullshit. Every 12-year-old is making it to be, like, focusing only on the Andrew Tate bullshit that goes around. You know what I mean? This is entirely a deep and wholesome book that I love it. I just love it. Building a brand story. This book, it's amazing to understand what you should be discussing with your client, right? To stop selling images and start selling them on the story of their businesses and how you can empower that. You know what I mean? This book and the Win Without Pitching Manifesto have really shifted the way I interact with clients, right? Shifting the talk about images and talking about ideas, right? That helps put you in the mind of your client as something a bit more elevated than someone that just makes images, you know what I mean? Which really helps to the longevity of your business. And also I found that you get far more freedom because they understand that you know what's up, so they leave you to your ways, you know what I mean? It's like when you go to a restaurant and you order a dish, you don't go tell the fucking cook how to make it. He knows what he's doing. Well, this is the same, you know what I mean? But the creative field has been so neglected, right, that we are seeing, especially when you're just starting out, like a pixel pusher, right? Like a facilitator of images, right? And it's not like we don't do this. Like even when you're just starting out, you're putting your vision as something that you're giving the client, right? There are things from your own taste that go into the piece that makes it great, right? But we don't acknowledge that till very late in your career when you become a professional, right? When you like a quote-unquote professional, you know what I mean? So those books are great. And then this one is really hard but really amazing. This is it's called Homo Ludens by Johan Huizinga. It's a book on play, but play as a culture shifting device. Like the book states that we are not Homo sapiens, we are Homo Ludens, because play is the way in which we interact with the world, you know what I mean? Like I couldn't explain it in a simple way because it goes in depth, like what is play, like literally how do we play and what is playing, you know what I mean? Like one quick example I can give from the book is he talks about, you know, when you're about to play something, you play voluntarily and you have rules and you have a playground, right? Like these are like basic principles of play. So for example, you have religion, and religion is like that. You have rules, you engage in religion, and religion has its sacred places, you know? So by those rules, religion is play, like by definition and by performance, like the ritualistic act of playing, like we can see it perfectly in religion, right? And then it goes into an analysis of like justice, commerce, like how different aborigines cultures develop, how we go from the old rituals to the way we have play now, right? And how we kind of lost play. Even sports have become too institutionalized, so the play element starts to be a lot less apparent. But yeah, these books are amazing, and I think if you're kind of struggling and you are lacking on ideas, these books are really gonna help you to at least kickstart some way in which you could start thinking of things a bit differently. You know what I mean? Give you some tools to I don't know, to start thinking different. Yeah. There is nothing like for a beginner designer. Read it when you will, right? And then read it again. All these books are meant for be read and then read again. You know? Like Art and Fear, I read it, the first time I read it I'm 32 now. And I read that book when I was 19, like over 10 years I've read that book the first time. In those 10 years I've read that book like 5 or 6 times, right? And every time I read it I get something new, right? Because I've read other books and I watched other movies and I've experienced my career in different stages, so there is no end in which you can start digging stuff from books, you know what I mean? But yeah, if you go to my website, let me show you. like to more resources, you go to books and tech, and here we have the Black Codex. If you enter here, I have a small snippet on books and whatnot. Access the Black Codex. You can save this page, and here I have a Notion with all books. I need to update it because I've read other books, but here we have like all that I'm saying, all the books with the subjects and whatnot, and then we have the Amazon link. The Amazon link to buy it, and if you buy it from there, I get a small percentage of the sale because that's an affiliate link, you know what I mean? But here you have a bunch of books to sort of start reading, and yeah, sort of like go off of that, you know what I mean? Read books on different subjects because it will gonna make you like cross-reference, you know what I mean? Like to understand is to unify, you know, and to unify you need to have like a whole swab of seemingly even contradicting information, you know what I mean? As you start to add the pieces in the puzzle, everything starts to come together, right? If you go down a really narrow path, your understanding, I feel like kind of dissolves, you know, instead of gaining understanding. When your understanding becomes narrow in like only one field, for example, you read only design, right? You lose the complexity of being able to grasp a bunch of subjects, right? And in that you start to understand how they relate to each other, right? And that interconnectedness of subjects and stuff will give you a much better map into who you are, you know, and what do you like and what do you make of the information. That is what will ultimately give flavor to your work, right? Because your own perspective will start to come off of that understanding of different subjects, right? If you only read books on design, for example, okay, you might do like crazier grids, but what do you put on the grid? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you make crazy grids and that could be, technique can get you pretty far, you know what I mean? But what is the work that makes you get up from bed in the morning and going all like, oh shit, I need to make this, you know? Like that is like, how do you order the words flying around, right? How do you catch the birds of ideas that fly within you, right? That's with words, right? Do you know how this happened to you? Are you pricing based on value? You mean my work? Yeah, like I try to price on that, but it's pretty abstract question, but it's nice to think about it like that. You price the value your work has for the client. You don't price your work or how hard was it to make for you. You know what I mean? Hear this, my guys. Like this is the part that I was telling you. Like the chapter is called chapter 5, like finding your work. And it goes like this, like listen. The world displays perfect neutrality on whether we achieve any outward manifestation of our inner desires, but not art. Art is exquisitely responsive. Nowhere is feedback so absolute as in the making of art. The work we make, even if unnoticed and undesired by the world, vibrates in perfect harmony to everything we put into it or withhold from it. In the outside world, there may be no reaction to what we do. In our artwork, there is nothing but reaction. The breathtakingly wonderful thing about this reaction is its truthfulness. Look at your work and it tells you how it is when you hold back or when you embrace. When you're lazy, your art is lazy. When you hold back, it holds back. When you hesitate, it stands there staring, hands in its pocket. But when you commit, it comes on like blazes. Shit. I get the chicken skin, you know what I mean? But it is what I just say. I feel like commit to the work and really do it, like really try to do it, and and it will happen, you know, or you'll have more confidence in it happening. And if it doesn't happen, then you can be like at peace that you committed, and then that you used your human body with all its capabilities to do your calling, that not many people can really say that, I feel, right? So if you have that opportunity to do the work, just do it, you know, like the Nike ad, you know, just do it, but it's literally true. But I feel like we should steal Nike the just do it. Like it should be like a world patrimony or whatever. Like it shouldn't be owned by a brand.